We're live because I can't see it.
And we're waiting. We're waiting.
Okay.
There it goes.
We're live.
We are live.
All right. Hello, Gun Nation. How's everyone doing this evening?
Hello, hello. What's going on, everybody?
How are you, my brother?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am living the dream as long as you don't wake me up.
All right.
All right. We've already got the question from Music. 1776 is not going to make it this evening. He is on assignment, so won't be with us this evening. He's with us in spirit, but won't be on the chat this evening. So we'll go ahead and let everybody get in here. We've got a bunch of great people joining us. We appreciate it so much. Means a lot. 18 viewers so far. That's good. So did you have anything exciting happen this weekend?
Well, I had a couple of extra days off, so I got to work on a couple of videos, got videos ready for the next couple of weeks, which is great. But also working on a couple of the smaller videos, some of the products and that sort of thing, and was finally able to spend some time with the 509 Tactical with the Apex trigger. I'll hold that up. Hopefully everybody can see that okay. I got to tell you guys, I'm a big fan of Apex, of course, and I think all three of us are. But the Glock triggers have always been great. I've got them on all my Glocks, but I always said that the M&P trigger, it does something totally different than any other trigger I've ever experienced. It transforms the gun into something really new. Now that's the M&P. This 509 trigger, I say, is right on par with that, because the one thing about the 509 that I was not really a big fan of was the trigger. Now it was an okay trigger. There was nothing wrong with it. It was just a little bit heavier. It had that hinge in it. So it was very much a duty trigger, which, again, nothing wrong with it. But for me, I want something shorter, lighter, crisper, if I possibly can. And I think we all want that in our triggers. So put that in, and it just really, it takes it to that next level. It makes it so much fun to shoot. And I was doing something a little bit different with the filming this time. Normally when I get to the range, I'm pumping things out pretty quick because I think it's boring for people to, watch a shot and then 10 seconds later another shot. Nobody wants to see that, I don't think. But this time I actually did some slow fire with it because I really just wanted to get to know it. And also there's one nuance about not the trigger, but the rest of the internals of the gun that I don't like, which I hadn't discovered before, and that's the return spring. And again, Apex doesn't have anything to do with that. The only parts that Apex sends are the trigger itself with the trigger bar, and then the sear. No springs or anything like that. No other trickery or anything, which is pretty amazing. Even my gunsmith said, considering the minimal amount of parts that were changed, the amount of transformation is quite significant. But that return spring, I really wish it was a little bit more bold, maybe a pound or two heavier. So that way it would chuck that trigger out a little bit more, because when I do want to go a little bit faster, when I do start shooting, and I'll shoot, about around every, 3/4 of a second or so, I can feel it's dragging a little bit, and that affects my shot a little bit. So I tend to get a little bit wonky when I know that it's kind of slow coming back. And I know that's really nitpicky on a trigger, but for a lot of us, whether it be Big Johnson, you, or 17, or anybody out there, a lot of you guys I know spend a lot of time with triggers and kind of are fascinated by the nuances of them and how different each gun is and everything. And so it was an interesting find on that. But that was my weekend. Still short story long.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I just had a bunch of honeydew stuff to catch up on, and that's kind of what I did. So didn't get to do any shooting this weekend, but definitely, hopefully this weekend I'll get to go and have a good time. But let's see here. Yes, anybody tuning in, we've had a couple more questions. 17 is out this evening. He's on assignments, but and they're asking you to do a build drill with that gun.
Yeah, so hang on a second, because Pops, you do have me curious. What the hell is the build drill? Maybe Big Johnson, maybe you know what it is.
7 yards. What is it? 7 yards, 6 shots, as fast as you can, I believe. But I think you load 7, but you only shoot 6. I think, if I'm not correct. I've done it before, but I'm not. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then it shows you like where your placement is, you know, if you're all over the place, and then it shows you, you can compare gun to gun with the bill drill.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
So,
Now, music was asking about it was changing the trigger difficult. 90% of it was not. The most forward pin on the frame was a jerk, to say the very least. I mean, that you have to hammer the snot out of that thing, and they recommend that you use one of those short starting punches, so it's a really short punch.
yeah.
And so that was a pain. The rest of it was a breeze. They've got videos out there that tell how to do it, and that wasn't so bad as long as you don't mind working with intricate small little parts. And once you can get past that, then you're fine.
Yeah. They're saying 6 shots, 6 shots as fast as you can. Very good deal, or very good drill for trigger and recoil. Yeah, I thought you load 7, but only shoot 6, so it also kind of teaches you discipline. But I thought it was 6 shots at 7 yards.
Okay, I'll give it a try. I'm not afraid to give it a whirl, see how it works.
Yep. And who just ordered LZ USA just ordered an Apex trigger for the 19X. Yeah, you'll love that. I've got one in my 19X. It's actually right over there. And it's a great trigger. So really, really like it. But let's see here. Let's go ahead and get some questions. Have we missed any questions? Because we definitely want to get y'all's questions out of the way. You know, I know that we've kind of talked on some of the other chats and maybe missed some questions. So if we have, please throw them out there. Just do the @ sign, and we will definitely get them answered as quick as possible. Yeah, Tundra. Yeah, I miss Minnesota, but they don't like my LTC carry at all. But let's see here. Okay, first question, and this is for anyone that might have this gun that they're not aware of it, but the Ruger Americans, the semi-autos, of course, there is a recall on them saying that some of the barrels were cracking, but they're saying it's after 10,000 rounds. So I don't know if anybody has 10,000 rounds through a Ruger American, but if you do, or even if you don't, I would definitely get with Ruger, double check on that and see if yours is affected and get those taken care of, because we don't want any barrels cracking or breaking and causing issues for anyone, especially if they're using it as a defensive handgun. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But I do have a question for you, KS, and this is also for the audience themselves too. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit before, but do you have a go bag that's pretty much that you take with you every day or you keep in the car? Now, granted, in my go bag, I have a gun, but you know, some people might carry the gun on them and then have a go bag separately. But do you carry a go bag with you every day, or at least have it in the car?
I do have a go bag in the car, and it's got a lot of basic essentials. So my prime directive isn't quite so much defense, like tactical type of things, but more survival. So it's going to have things like power bars and water and some clothing, flashlight, one of those blankets, those little package blankets or whatever, camping blankets, stuff like that. So if for some reason I'm out driving and I get stuck or something like that, especially as we come upon the winter, if you get thrown off the road or anything like that, you want to be able to have something, especially if the roads are blocked or anything. And of course that's worst case scenario, but you never know. It's nice to have a bag, and it's a really old Mountain Smith bag that I've had forever, and it's just packed full of stuff in the trunk, and it's out of the way, and I just kind of leave it there forever. Periodically I might change out the water and the power bars, but those last for a long time. So that's kind of my go-to bag, so to speak. I mean, I have a totally different bag for defense, but that's not something that's in the car 24/7.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've got a go bag that stays in the truck, and then I do carry a smaller one with me, but it's got some medical in it. It actually has a life straw. It's got the big, they're not power bars, so to say, but they call them life bars, and they're like about this big, and they're about that thick, and supposedly they last for like 10 years. So once you vacuum pack them or unpack them, they're not, you have to eat them or they go bad, I think, after a little while. But I've got like crazy stuff, bungee cords. I've got a portable tarp, but the whole big monster tarp folds up like super thick, so you can use it for a raincoat, cover yourself, cover the vehicle, whatever you want to do. and of course ammo, a knife, a flashlight, and it's the head type, so you don't have to hold it if you're trying to do other stuff. And I did a video a long time ago about kind of what's in them, but anyway, that's kind of what I carry. And then of course a pistol is in an extra pistol with mags is in there too, and that doesn't stay in the truck. That part comes out. So, and then of course a pistol on me. So, but yeah, happy birthday, Logan. And also, I think some people might have gotten that confused. That Ruger Recall was for the American pistol, not the rifles. So just don't want to confuse anybody, because yeah, 10,000 rounds through a rifle is probably maybe not that big of a deal. But all right, well, cool. And I saw other people have, I was going to say, hell, Kodo Boy's got like the kitchen sink in the back of his car. So, but all right, the next one is, do you store ammo in a safe, or do you store it, how do you store your ammo?
Yes, all my ammo is in a safe. It's in a cool, dry place. Okay. In the house as all my stuff is, and it's all locked up.
Okay. I don't store all of my ammo in a safe because I load up on ammo, but I do have them in the ammo that I'm going to regularly shoot that I know is going quickly. And I think I've shown this in videos, but I use those cashew containers, the little screw-on kind, and I'll move those from an ammo can to those. And those are the ones that I know that I'm going to shoot. And of course, I'll mark on the top what ammo is in there, what grain, and what it is. If it's remanufactured or if it's new ammo, I'll do it that way. And then I keep some in the safe, but most of it is in ammo boxes because it just takes up so much room, and I don't need to add another safe just for ammo. So, and I've never had an issue with any of my ammo. Even I actually keep some in the truck, and it permanently stays there, and it is in a dry, clean box, and I've never had any problems. And I shoot through that and then replenish that, so I bring that into the mix, but I don't just leave it in there for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But let's see here.
So there was a question. I hope you don't mind me interrupting.
Oh, go ahead.
This is from our brother, Tundra Tactical. He asked your favorite gun you shot this week. And Tundra, I'm going to take a liberty here, and I also want to mention something in a second. But I'm going to expand that to say, how about this year? I kind of want to know, because we're getting towards the end of the year. I think a lot of us out there, whether it be Big Johns or anybody out there, the question becomes, what's your favorite gun that you've shot this year? And by the way, before I start, and I owe an apology to Kodo and Tundra, but guys, they've got a chat that's coming on right after ours, and I think it's on Kodo Boy's channel, or no, actually it's on Tundra's channel. It's on Tundra, so it's right after ours. So 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. So be sure to join those guys there for sure. That'll be a lot of fun. But what do you think about that question? Favorite gun of the year?
Well, yes, and actually, I apologized to Kodo Boy last week too. Yeah, and I think they're calling it the Gun Bunnies chat. I think that's what it is, Gun Bunnies. Gun Bunny buddies. So, yeah, definitely tune into those guys right after ours. But let's see, favorite pistol of the year. Wow. Well, I mean, I guess if we're going, I would say Shadow 2's, still one of my favorites. There's not, I mean, I like a lot of pistols. I can't just say, well, okay, I can. Probably my surprise is the 19X. As everyone knows, and I don't ever knock Glock, I'm just not a big Glock guy. But this past year, I've actually gotten 4 Glocks. One of them I really love, and that is the 19X. I believe it or not being a Glock guy, I really, really enjoy that pistol a lot. So I guess if you're going to say new pistols, it would probably be the Glock 19X.
Interesting. Okay, I would not have guessed that coming from you, but that's really cool. I dig that. That is an honest response.
It's very honest. I don't fib about anything.
Yeah, no, I like that. And the 19X and all the Glocks have been a lot of fun. I would say probably for me, because the Shadow 2 was really last year, the first time I shot it, I'd say probably the TSO has been the most fun. Although if you had asked me after the first 200 rounds, I would not have said that gun. It's taken me a while.
I watched you put the first rounds in it, remember?
Oh, no, I know that. And then I came back like a few days after you left, and I put more rounds, and I was a little bit frustrated because it's taken me some time to really warm up to that gun and really get a place to where I feel like my grip is very comfortable. I'm using the gas pedal properly. I'm doing everything hopefully right with my technique and letting the gun do its job. Because if you set the gun up right, I mean, the thing is just, it's butter. So that is probably my favorite gun of the year. So I mean, of the week, it would probably be the 509, but of the year, it would be the TSO.
Now let me just say this, because this could have some influence on it. And I have shot the 19X without it, and then I've shot it with it. And this is loaded. So, but this is the 19X, and mine does have the silencer coil barrel in it, threaded barrel, and it does have the Black Texas rifle comp on it. So, and I do carry this appendix, so it's the length of a Glock 34. And I'll tell you what, with this comp on it, KS saw it. I shot it when I was in Kansas with him. And I mean, from, what was it, 10 yards? I mean, it was a hell of a group, but this thing is super, super surprising with this comp on it. I really like it even better with the comp on it personally.
Yeah.
115 ammo.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been looking at some of the answers. People have been saying, Mean Gene was saying the M&P 3.6, which I have not shot, but I'd like to. I love that 4.0 so much. I think the 3.6 would be a lot of fun. Hunts was saying the P10C, which is great. I'm hoping CZ comes out with the F and the S before shot. And some people are saying that may happen. So that'd be very cool. The Fs are out there, but they're just being tested with certain groups.
Yeah, now the mags are already out there. They're actually for sale now.
Oh,
I did an Instagram picture a while back, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're already readily available. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, they are coming. And I love my P10C. I haven't had one issue with mine. Now, granted, I don't shoot suppressed, but I haven't had an issue with it at all. So
I have a different story.
I know. Yep, we've heard it. Now, Bald is saying the 365, and I know that that's kind of been the, some people have had issues, some people haven't, but the 365 has been a big surprise for some people also this year too, and I know that you have experience with it.
I do. I'm going to go back to the P10 for a second. You had said everybody'd heard it. That's not true. Actually, I've only told you, and in 17, we didn't get to talk about that last time. And I think Shooks, I'd wanted to kind of talk with him about it as well. But I've had a problem with my P10. This is the tactical version with the raised sights and the threaded barrel and everything. By itself, it runs fine. It runs like a clock, not a problem, or runs like a top, whatever that saying is. So it's great, but it will not run with a can. And I think I've probably put or attempted to put maybe 300 or 400 rounds through consistently with a can, and it absolutely will not do it. I've had a multitude of issues between dropping the magazines, and you shoot one shot and all of a sudden the magazine just spits right out. And it's comical. I've got some of it on film. I probably won't ever put it in a video unless I'm doing some sort of comedy. But it looks like the Keystone Cops trying to shoot a gun, with the magazine falling out and everything. But this last time trying, this was maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. It simply would not go back into battery, not a single time. I'd have to put it back into battery every time. So that has been an unbelievable frustration because I love the P10, and again, by itself, I've had nothing but good luck with it. So that's been really frustrating for me.
Yeah, I imagine that would be. Yeah, I guess. Oh, and yeah, some of the guys have already signed up for SHOT Show. I know KB has, SoCal has, so that's cool. Man, I've been to freaking Vegas so damn much. It's like I want to go to SHOT Show, but then again, I don't miss Vegas because I'm about to head there soon.
Did you see Coda's being sponsored by Glock?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's awesome.
Hey, man, I was gonna say, but yeah, anyone out there want to trade for 224 round 509 mags? Okay.
Yes, I'll trade you 2 guns for 224 round 509.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Let's get to let's see here. Okay. This is a question that affects a lot of the creators in our chat. And then also, I want this to be geared towards the viewers also. Okay. Sometimes us as YouTubers, we kind of get not, I wouldn't say burnout, but we just get a little tired of maybe putting out a bunch of content or a bunch of videos. So we kind of lean back a little bit, and I have been doing that because I've been using a lot of Instagram and YouTube, kind of both, more on Instagram. But just because your schedule gets busy or you just get worn out or whatever. But when you basically gear back on YouTube and don't do it as much, I wondered how the viewers are affected. Do they like, where the hell is? Because I know that I've been asked this a lot, like, where are you? What's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I just got other stuff going on and kind of taking a little break. Do the viewers get mad about it? Do they just, or what? I guess I don't really want to say mad about it, but what's their opinion? Do they want us to put out videos all the time? Do they like them once a week? Do they, I just wanted to kind of throw this out there, and this can be for creators also. What do you do when you kind of get a little burnout? Do you use Instagram or both, or do you kind of go back and forth? Or, maybe I'm not questioning or saying that correctly, but I was just kind of thinking about that. Do you ever run into that, KS?
Well, as a content creator, sure. I mean, it takes a lot of time. I think I probably spend 20 to 25 hours a week on YouTube, even if I'm not releasing a video. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. There are comments. And I can't even imagine whether it's Coda or Honest Outlaw or even beyond that. And at some point, I need to talk a little bit more with Honest and Coda and some of those guys, because the comments are getting, they're more and more and more, and I still try and answer every single one of them. That's kind of a mission of mine. That may someday have to not be the case, because eventually it'll get completely overwhelming. But so there's a lot of time and a lot of effort put into all this stuff, and sometimes you want to just deal with real life. Whether it's your job, most of us have day jobs, right? I do too. But then you kind of want to there are times where I want to sit on the couch and watch Game of Thrones or something like that and not worry about any of the YouTube stuff. But I feel a sense of pride and a sense of obligation as well to continue to work and continue to do that. And so, like vacation, I've had I think 9 days of vacation over the last, let's say, 30 days. And I have spent a good portion of that working on content. And the payoff is there's stuff that's done, which is great. I can take a few weeks off and not worry about that, but I'm still doing all the other behind the scenes things. Plus I still go and shoot and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I definitely get burned out, and I have to remind myself to just keep on plugging away, because at the end of the day, I enjoy it. I enjoy the result. I enjoy talking with each and every person out here in the audience and beyond that as well. And so that's a lot of fun. But as a viewer, it's funny, I equate it a lot. A lot of you guys know I was a musician for a really long time. I spent a lot of time on stage and touring and practicing. I mean, thousands and thousands of hours. And as I did it for a long time, and there came a point where I didn't want to see live shows. In fact, I haven't been to a live concert in probably a decade. And that's mainly because I spent so much time on stage and so much time being kind of caught up in that life, not to the scale that big artists are, of course, but I mean, a much smaller scale, but you still get the same sense and the same idea. And I think I get that way with YouTube sometimes too. There'll be a slew of videos that I really want to watch from all my friends, whether it be out here, a lot of these guys, or even beyond again. And I try and get to what I can. And then sometimes I sort of say, I can't do anymore. I need to put it down. I need to go drive or go, run to the store or do something else and be not in YouTube, because it can be totally enveloping.
Yeah. And I saw a bunch, some of the comments, like Jesse B and stuff like that. He was just saying, he's trying to do or not doing as many videos because ammo is more expensive. If you do a lot of shooting videos or things like that, and that's why I try to do shooting videos, gear videos, try to mix it up a little bit. So, you're kind of covering the whole gamut too. But yeah, a lot of that stuff does get really expensive. And I try to answer every one of my comments also. I mean, I even answer comments from videos I put out like 2 years ago. I'll get comments on those just like everyone else does. But, I try to be as connected as I can, but it does become overwhelming when you wake up one morning and I have a lot of, and I didn't realize this for a long time, but I have a lot of people in other countries apparently that watch my videos, like probably everybody else does. And I'll wake up in the morning and have 25 comments on different videos, and I'm just like, wow. And they'll be asking me stuff that I don't even remember the video, because it was 2 years ago.
Sure.
And I'm like, I have to go back and just look at what video they're talking about, and they go, oh, okay, I remember that one, and answer those. So it does become overwhelming, but and sometimes you just need to take a break and step away. And that's why I try to put out stuff on Instagram like 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes I'll put out something one a day, and kind of keep people involved over there too. And if you're not, if you all haven't checked us out on Instagram, please do. I'm really enjoying that, and it's kind of a quick outlet, to put something out there, get people talking and yourself communicating, when you don't have to do a full-blown video. So I like that. But Harry had a question that I thought was a really good question, and I wanted to, I think that we need to bring this up. If you won the lottery, okay, and the check cleared, okay, so you had the money in the bank, what's the first 5 guns you would buy? So now price is not an issue.
Yeah, price would not be an issue. No, that's exactly right. So I do have some, and my taste might not blow people away as much as maybe some would. I don't know, but there are a couple, like a Checkmate. I think it'd be really cool to have a Checkmate. That would be certainly on the upper echelon. But actually, a Dan Wesson Guardian. I was actually looking at one this weekend, and brother, I was so tempted because. Talk about a good feeling gun. This is a smaller 1911. It's a more compact size 1911, 9mm, just beautiful. The racking the slide was like glass, man. I mean, it was awesome. So I was totally nerding out with that. I mean, that sort of thing I would definitely do. There'd be a lot of 1911s that would probably be on the wish list. And I'm a big fan of Dan Wesson, so definitely those. Beyond that, I don't know. I'd have to get a couple of ARs. I would really, and probably really nice ARs, and I'd have to lean on you and Coda and some of those guys to point me in the right direction, especially if money was no object, to try and really get something kind of crazy and wild and fun. But I don't know, man. I'd lose my mind if I won the lotto. I'd be buying a lot of guns, and somebody would have to eventually do an intervention on me.
It would probably be easier just to go buy a gun store, but some of mine would be a Nighthawk agency. If you haven't seen them, they're new. Agency's doing the slide for the Nighthawks, and it's really awesome. It has a little Agency A on it, but they're like $4,400, and it's a 9mm, and I'm just like, wow, yeah, this thing's awesome. I would definitely get a 50 BMG. I've been wanting one of those for a long time, and the thing is, I would have it, but where the hell would I go shoot it? But I'd make arrangements for that. I would probably get a really, like, I really would like to have a 338 Lapua, just to have it. Again, I don't know, I need to find a really long range, because right now I've got this beast. If y'all haven't seen it, this is the new Lancer. So this is it right here, if you haven't seen it. And that's the 308, and that's the heavy, so it's a heavy metal. But this thing is awesome. I don't know. I'm like, oh, and you should have seen when I was carrying these things in. I put a picture on Instagram when I carried these guns into the hotel. People were like, they didn't know what they were, I'm sure. Well, maybe they had an idea because they're in bags, but I got the look from hell from a bunch of people. But I don't know. I think that would be, a really cool thing to have to choose 5 guns, but it wouldn't end up being 5. We all know that.
Oh my God, that'd be the first day. I would probably also do some sort of just outlandish, tricked out Glock. I mean, if you've got the money and you could do whatever, some sort of just balls out nuts, which is sort of an oxymoron. I would do something just crazy with a Glock. That would be a lot of fun too, because I can't. With the guns I've got here, I mean, and I've got a couple of Glocks in front of me. I would love to trick those out and put some money in them and everything. But you guys know, with a lot of us, these guns will probably be gone in a year because something else will come out. So I can't invest the money. Anything that I put on a Glock, I have to be able to take it back off and store it and use it again. So I have to be careful about that. But if money was no object, oh man, I'd go absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I agree with music. You would get you a gold-plated slide on your Glock to match your gold-plated tooth that you'd probably have put in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's SoCal caught that. Thanks, SoCal.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be really cool if you were put in that situation. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would just go buy it. I would definitely buy some guns. Some of my dream guns. But I'd probably like to have an original Uzi too, just to have it.
Oh, no, that would be cool. Now, I have to say, though, Al Osborne might be the smartest one of all of us because he said, buy a range or a farm like Pop's Quest. I didn't even think about that. I mean, to get a big old slice of land, that would be cool.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When I said the 50 BMG and the 338, where would I shoot it? And then I was thinking, okay, well, I'm a millionaire. Yeah, I can go buy a bunch of land too. So, but yeah, that's definitely, I've been saying that for years that I would love to have a range, because the people like Honest and Pops and stuff like that, where they can just go out in their backyard or go to a farm like that and being able to shoot. And of course, I really appreciate Pops when he invites me out there because it's completely awesome. You're out there with like-minded people, which is a great thing. But just to go out there and shoot what the hell you want to do when you want to do it. I mean, that's.
Pistol Pete saying KS already owns a range. You still remember that? Seriously?
Yeah, you do. I was going to say your name's pretty much on there.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and then I had let's see here. Okay, this was another question that I had, and I've kind of looked, at some of these things, and I'm sure you have too when I bring it up, and I'm sure some of the chat members have, and other content creators. But have you ever watched a YouTube video or even like somebody on Instagram where they're showing a product, or it's new to the it's new and it's all the rage, and you're looking at it and you're going, that's the biggest piece of junk I think I've ever seen, or I would never consider using that either in my EDC or buying it for your collection. Have you ever seen a video or a lot of hype and you're just like, no, I'm out instantly? Have you ever ran across anything like that?
Sure. I've definitely seen products. I'm trying to think of something that I've seen that I just would have no interest in. There are a couple of things like, one thing that I see periodically are those rackers that you put on the back of a Glock, those types of things. Stuff like that. I have zero interest in. That's not a thing for me. But yeah, there definitely is. Yeah, I mean, there's a flip side to that too, of course.
Yeah. Well, and this was when I was newer in YouTube. And they actually reached out to me, which I thought was kind of cool. And probably everybody's seen it, and I'm not knocking it if people carry it and it works for them, that's great. But the urban carry, be like a Navy SEAL and quiet as a Navy SEAL and all this other stuff. I was just like, I got it, I tried it, I'm like, what the hell? I'm just like, there's no way I would carry a gun in that thing. I mean, for me personally, it just wouldn't be for me.
Now, which thing is that again?
It's that holster, that you put down your leg, and your holster basically, or your gun rides in your pocket, and then you stand up and pull the whole thing out, and your gun just magically lands in your hand. And and then there's actually a guy at the gun show that sells a very similar version. He completely knocked it off, and he made it a cell phone holder. So you put your cell phone in it. It just looks like a cell phone holder, but you grab your phone and rip your phone out, and then when you do, it's like a holster for your gun. And it's just like, and he's like, oh, well, try it on. And he's trying to get everybody over to his thing. I'm just looking at it going, that's just bad in my opinion, because, you're talking about, a lot of people carry it in the appendix or carry it right down their leg, and it's not in a, it is in a leather holster, or their version of it, but the way that you have to grab it, and I even tested it on mine, of course, unloaded, but the way that I was grabbing it, you would just grab the handle. But like when you got the gun out, the trigger it wasn't like a normal Kydex holster where it holds the trigger and covers it. This was like, you just barely pull it up and your trigger is completely exposed, and yet you still have to rip more of it out of your pants to get your gun out. So your trigger's exposed for like this far out of your pocket, you know, to where your shirt might hit it or your finger could fall in it since you're trying to yank the damn holster out of your pants. It was really crazy.
Did you see Tundra's comment? I'm just waiting for the video of somebody trying to deploy the firearm and it launches off their body like a freaking rocket ship.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen the lady that's trying to shoot? It's a 12 gauge, but I think it's like a what is it, shockwave? It's like the little shockwave, and she's holding it like this, and she pulls the trigger, and she lets go of it, and it flies back and hits the back wall.
Yeah, yeah.
She's at a range, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, that's bad. So yeah, it just flies right out of her hands. But you know, hell, that's like people, you know, have taken scopes to the eyes and all kinds of stuff. So you just kind of got to be prepared and know what's going to happen.
Right.
But I was just wondering if you had ran into anything like that, you know.
How about though products that look incredible, that look awesome, that all of a sudden you see something on a video and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have that. I have to have that right now. It's the coolest thing ever. Have you ever run across something like that?
I'm sure I have, but just thinking right off the top of my head, I can't remember probably what it was, but I've seen stuff that I'm like, wow, that's really cool. You know, I know I've seen it. You know, and it doesn't have to be even gun related, but trying to think what the hell it was. It wasn't anything from like the ShamWow guy or the Flex Seal guy. It wasn't anything like that, but
ShamWow.
Yeah, I'm sure. What about you?
You know, everything that Tactical Toolbox has on his videos, I pretty much want. I want every single one of them, and I think, and I've had a couple of messages back and forth with him about this. The Valkyrie build that he did quite some time ago. It was a Glock 19. It has the yellow stripe on the front and the yellow stripe on the magazine. Base plate was like a +4 or something like that. It's a gray and blacked out gun just with those stripes. I think it's the coolest freaking gun I've ever seen. I mean, it's kind of unusual. It's kind of unique. It's kind of rare and different. And I absolutely love that. So pretty much everything he stuffs on his channel, I want.
Yeah, no, he does a good job. He really does. Tundra is saying he met him this weekend, met Tactical Toolbox, and he's in love with him. But, you know, Tyler's in love with everybody. So
well, you know what? I hear he's one of the nicest guys out there. I've talked with some of the guys that we, you know, work with products like Apex Tactical and that sort of thing. And everybody has nothing but nice things to say about him. And I totally imagine that's true. So I like him a lot. He's a cool dude. He's no bull. He just kind of says what he feels. And I dig that a lot.
Yeah, he does a good job. C. Kim is asking about the Shadow 2. Now he wants one because we've talked about them. And I would say Shadow 2, grab it. I mean, it's a great gun. You know, I love the TSO also, but man, the Shadow 2, they hit the nail. They hit it out of the park with that gun, with the offerings that you can do with it. I mean, you can use it for home defense, put a light on it. I mean, it's just a great pistol. You know, best all-around gun. Like if you had to, you know, and it is a heavy gun, but you know, I mean, those are my two go-to guns as a Shadow 2 for all around, and the P09. So that would be mine.
I would say it's certainly in my top 3, and it might be my number 1. That is, I feel very strongly about the Shadow 2 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever, and I know that we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but you know, have you ever bought a gun, you know, like it was hyped up either in your mind or hyped up from someone else, and you bought it and you were just like, I just don't like it. You know, it just wasn't for you.
Are we talking guns?
Yes. And it could be rifle, pistol, shotgun, whatever.
I think the PX4 Storm. That was a good gun, but I was not nearly as impressed as what a lot of people made it out to be. Now, here's the thing, though. There are some serious hardcore fanatics about that gun. I got a lot of comments that were, "Hey, good video, but you missed this and this and this and this and this and this and this." And I mean, really, that is the most graded video I've ever put out, which I appreciate. I mean, people keep me honest, and that's a good thing. I need that. But there, you know, we always tease kind of the Glock fandom that's out there, and I'm a little bit of that as well. But the PX4 Storm has quite a fandom. It might be a little smaller, but they're pretty hardcore. So I enjoyed that gun, and it was a better shooter than I thought it would be. but I was nowhere near as impressed as what some people made it out to be, you know?
Yeah, I bought the TriStar. This wasn't the Canic version. They're all made, that way, but this was the one that was labeled TriStar. And it was kind of it was the Magnum Research kind of knockoff one with the slant. It was the T120. And, I was like, man, this really looks cool. And I got the special gray edition and stuff. And, I went and shot it and I was just like, wow, it shoots low, and matter of fact, even Mateo was like, it's the sights because the ammo, they're set for 124 NATO, and I was shooting 115 out of it. And I was like, okay, well, that explains the sights. But then in order to make it the way that I guess that I was hoping that I would, with looking into it and stuff, and it was it's no knock on the gun. The gun fired every time. I didn't have an issue with it. The one that I purchased, and this could have been one of, many that didn't ever have this, but the trigger was horrendous. I mean, the double action was harder than any CZ I've ever pulled. And it could have just been a bad batch or, had a weird trigger in it, but single action wasn't bad. But it was just, I guess I had more expectation for that pistol, from watching reviews than, but the bad thing is I already had other great pistols that I was trying to compare it to. So that was probably a bad thing. And like I said, it's not a knock against the gun. It was just my expectations of it. I wasn't very pleased with it, with that particular pistol or the one that I purchased and I bought it brand new.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's understandable. And Rabbi made a really good point that kind of goes along with all of this. He said, if someone's first gun, and I'm assuming he actually means is, so if someone's first gun is the most expensive, they often over proclaim its quality.
Yes.
And I don't know if you see this, and so to give you guys kind of an idea, I was looking over the analytics on my channel a little bit, and it's got about 37,000 comments on it, which is a little bit mind blowing. But when you start to, and I know all of you guys spend time in the comments on videos, right? So you get kind of an idea of what people are talking about, the types of comments, and how people feel strongly about certain things, which is great. But I think, Rabbi, you're onto something. I will see people that comment that will say, this is the only gun I own and it's the best gun ever. And there is nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing. If you found your niche, you found your thing, and you're in it, that is awesome. I respect that. But there are some people that take it kind of the extra step and say everything else sucks and all that kind of stuff. And I'll usually respond, hey, it's a great gun. That's awesome. It's fun to try some other ones as well, just in case you find something that might be the next evolution. I for a long time thought Glocks were the end all be all, and I know now that is not the case.
Yeah.
And I had to learn through trial and error.
Yeah. Oh, and we've all done it. I mean, I've got some older shotguns that I was in love with as a kid because I shot them all the time, and then a newer model came out or something different or something like that, and then you kind of fall out of love with those. And I won't ever get rid of them because I've had them forever. But and some of them are collector's pieces, but it's just that's the thing about rifles and pistols and ARs and all this other stuff. There's always something better that can come out. And I kind of try to relate it to golf a little bit. With shooting, since I've done a lot of golf. People think that the next driver that comes out, whether it be Callaway, TaylorMade, whomever, is going to save their game or make their game, or it's going to be so much better. But really, sometimes it's just putting different lipstick on a pig. It's the same thing they had before, but just a different insignia or a different color or something like that, and they'll go spend $600 on that. And that's why I'm kind of looking at guns. Is there something that gun offers that the old one didn't? And that's why I go and hold them and pull the trigger and do different things now before I really just buy that gun. I'm not really into the hype anymore. I want to see where it fits me and if it's going to be a match for me. And that's why I haven't picked up some guns. Now, I love the new M&P 2.0 lineup, but as far as the compact, it's too small for me. The grip is, and I know you can put the +2 on it with the sleeve, but I would get the 4.2 or the 4.25 with the 17 grip, and it fits me perfect. However, I don't really need it. I've got so many guns that fit that criteria. However, it is a great gun. But I'm kind of looking at things that way now versus just running out and buying all these pistols, because I have so many already.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to try anything, and that's part of being a reviewer, that sort of thing. I mean, there are some guns in my collection that I probably would not have thought of getting them, and they tend to move out when I'm done with them and that sort of thing, and let somebody else experience them. But there are some, the ones that remain. There has to be something very special about them to me, and also something that I connect with. I mean, like the Shadow 2, like the TSO. I mean, a lot of these are CZs. There's a point to that somewhere, I'm sure. But the SP01 Shadow, things like that to me are just they're exceptional quality. They're fun to shoot. They're good looking guns, in my opinion, that sort of thing. There has to be something special about them for them to remain permanently.
Yeah. And, Stephen brings up a really great point. We've said this before too. It's not the gun. And like I've always said, it's not it's not the arrow, it's the Indian. So basically it's not the gun, it's the shooter. Most of these guns can outshoot us, which is true. But what I run into is, and you've probably ran into it too, you get a gun, it might feel good, but then when you shoot it, you're just like, man, it just doesn't shoot like I expected it to. Not that it's a bad thing, it just doesn't work for you. I've ran into some pistols like that before, and rifles. Like in the store, I'll hold it this way, but then when I'm shooting it, it doesn't stretch out enough for my reach, or I just don't get a good purchase on it. There's been some situations like that with me, and I'm just like, and then you have to buy a stock, or you have to buy something to try to adjust it and make it. And that's why they offer so many accessories for those things for different shooters, and to set it up like they want it, which is a great thing. But I think it's a lot of expectations also by a purchaser. Just out of the box, it's going to be, you're going to shoot bullseyes with it every single time, and then you don't. And some people get frustrated with the gun rather than maybe putting the time in for that gun.
That's the key. It is for me. I mean, my first 250, 300 rounds, that's getting to know the gun a little bit. Now, a lot of times I'm doing that and filming at the same time because I want my first impressions to be a part of that experience, of those videos. I think that's important because a lot of times, like some of the shooting footage, you'll see a little bit of an evolution. I mean, it oftentimes can start out really crappy and end up being less crappy, and still sometimes be crappy. But there has to be a period of getting to know the other person, the gun. I've got a good story for that. I picked up a used gun this weekend, and it's actually a gun I've had before that I had a phenomenal experience with. It was one of those ones that I let get away that frustrated me, and I found a ridiculous deal with a guy that's local. In fact, he shoots at centerfire. And so I couldn't pass it up because it was such a good gun. And the irony of all of that is, now that I'm back in it, and I did a tiny bit of shooting with it I think it was Tuesday, I didn't shoot it very well, and it didn't feel quite as good to me. Now I'll warm up to it again, I'm sure, because I had a phenomenal experience last year with it. But it was a little bit of a shock to me, because it wasn't as comfortable, and it didn't shoot quite as well as I wanted it to, and it was like, what gun was it again last year? Was it the same gun? And no, it's the shooter. There's something different about the shooter, and so now I need to get back into that gun, and see if I still have the same affection for it I had last year. And if I don't, then I don't, and maybe it'll walk out the door. I don't know, but yeah, it's funny how that sort of thing happens.
Yeah, and that's like, and I kind of, with different type of grips, if you, like we talked about before, if you grew up with a 1911 grip and that's what you've shot, and you're so used to it, and you shot it very well throughout your life, and all of a sudden you put a Glock in your hand, it's like you have to break your wrist a little differently, and it's just weird, and you're like, and of course, like I can relate it back to Gen 3, when I shot I think I shot a Gen 1 or 2 for the first time, and I was like, this thing's a block. I mean, it's just weird. I had to break my wrist over, and I was like, oh, this is just crazy, but of course I bought one, I spent a little time with it, and, I could grab a 1911, I could shoot it great, or a 1911 style, and then I grab a Glock and I just wouldn't shoot it so well. So that's why I was like, I'm going to put some time in with the Glock, and I did, and I got to where I was shooting a lot better. And that's what's really weird about the 19X. And the only thing I can explain is that little piece right there, that little extra polymer piece. Because this is a full-size grip, and I mean, look where my hand is. So it's all the way down. And if I didn't have that piece, it would be sitting on the mag. And, that's what's weird for me with Glocks. But with the 19X, with that little piece, I actually shoot it good, shoot it really good. So it's like that kind of just shows something they have added to that gun helps me, where the other ones didn't. Like I can't even shoot a 19 to save my life. I can't even hit the broadside of a barn with a Glock 19 because it's just so tiny. Yeah. And a 26 is useless for me.
Yeah, I picked up a Gen 5 26 again. I've probably handled one 5 or 6 times now because I keep thinking, oh, it'd be fun to give that a try again, because I used to be a huge 26 fan, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever. I used to carry one for a long time. But now I can't do it. Now, if I've got the extended magazine on it, it's fine. If I've got the +2 at least, so my pinky has a little something to grab onto, even though with single stacks it doesn't bother me. I can have my pinky hanging off. It's no big deal. But the 26 anymore, I don't dig it. And it's the same reason why I don't like the CZ Ramy and the PPQ subcompact. I mean, that thing is really tiny. It's smaller than a 26 grip, I think. I just don't enjoy that as much. I mean, if somebody gave me a 26 and said this is the only thing you can run with, I'd deal with it. That it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I don't enjoy it like I used to, and anymore. And a lot of people said, hey, you need to compare the G2C to the 26 or whatever. And I won't do it, not because I don't like the 26, but I don't enjoy shooting it as much anymore. And if I'm not going to enjoy it, and I know I'm not going to enjoy it, and I've had it on videos before, it's not going to happen again. Unless I find somebody who's got a 26 lying around or something, maybe. But it's not enjoyable to me anymore.
Yeah, and that's part of where I was kind of going with your choice of guns, whether it be a rifle, a pistol, a shotgun, or something like that. Is it a gun or a rifle or whatever that you enjoy shooting? Does it work for you? If it's just a gun that and that's how I'm kind of looking at them now. I'll go and touch them and feel them and all that, and I'm just like, this isn't the answer for me. This isn't something that I could see me getting into or even attempting. So I've kind of changed a little perspective, and I'm also a collector. I collect guns, but I collect guns that I know that I'll want for years and years. And the thing now, and I know that 17's brought this up, you brought it up, I brought it up. There's so many great choices now. If you got rid of say if I got rid of a Glock 19X, just say I got rid of it tomorrow. I could go and buy another one, later on down the road. There, those kind of guns, they're going to be there. But those other little hidden gems that you might find used in a gun store that you've been thinking about, and somebody let theirs go, and you're like, oh my gosh, you can't even find that gun anymore. Those are the ones that, I grab and try to hang on to and keep.
Yeah, I hear you. We've got a great crowd in here, by the way. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we said it before, right after our chat, the Gun Buddies chat is going to be on, and that's Tundra Tactical and KB32. So please, they're jumping off the chat to set up for theirs, but please jump over to theirs. Good guys, and we want to definitely support them. So don't forget to check them out.
Heck yeah.
But there's. And yes, we definitely appreciate, and Pop's kind of brought this up, on one of his chats, and I kind of took it a little bit to heart. When he says like sub or, something like that, and I know that's what YouTube has named it, as a subscriber or a sub. But, I kind of think of it a little differently too. You people are friends and acquaintances and things like that. I mean, you're not just a sub, we have some diehards that are on every Wednesday, and I kind of consider them friends and family, and I don't even know them personally. They ask great questions and they give us great content to talk about, and that's where I just want to kind of throw this out there and let you know, we definitely appreciate everyone. Not just saying that because y'all are on the chat, but we definitely do. So it means a lot. Except the humble marksman. No, I'm joking. No,
no, it is really true. This. We've been doing this live chat for how long now? A year and a half?
I think so, yeah.
Right? Or maybe even a little bit longer than that. And a lot of people out there have been with us pretty much since the beginning, or darn close, and a lot of great channels out there as well. and we've gotten to know you guys, and we've had our ups and downs. We've fought, we've made up, but no, I mean it's just been a lot of fun, and what better way to get together with a bunch of like-minded people and talk about the things that we enjoy. And that's what this is all about. I mean, we talked earlier about getting a little bit burnt out on YouTube. It's the whole reason why we continue to do it, because I still want to see what so and so is up to, or I want to share my thoughts on this thing. And I mean, it's the connections, right? That's the most meaningful part of all of this. Otherwise, you're talking to yourself. You're talking to a wall, and that's no fun.
And imagine trying to do one of these chats with a bunch of anti-gunners on the other end. And trust me, I would debate till the end. But what I'm trying to say is it's great to have the community that we have, and like you said, and I've said, with like-minded people, because we have so much in common, and we're all looking and kicking around ideas, and some we might disagree about, some we might agree about, but that's the great thing about having a normal conversation, about firearms, where other people, trust me, I have them in my family. We've talked about that before. You just mention a firearm and they freak out. It's like, but yet they'll call a police officer with a firearm to protect them. It just makes no sense. But, that's the great thing about the community that we're a part of, great content creators, great or great family and friend members. It's definitely a joy to be around everybody and do this chat every week. We're going to get ready to close it out, coming up on our time. We don't want to interfere with theirs, but what do you have coming up, KS? Any great, exciting stuff?
Yeah, there's some fun stuff. Real quickly, Young Guns said he enjoys our chats and glad that we're not commandos. Now, let's face it. Can you imagine the three of us as commandos? Really? We couldn't pull it off, right? You look at me and you want to do your taxes. You want to think about running and gunning. So, I mean, come on. Yeah. I'm a realist. What can I say? But yeah, there's definitely some fun stuff on the channel. I've got a few product things coming out, including the Apex Tactical. I've got the Alpha Gear belts. I've been wearing those for about a month and a half. I love them, by the way, sneak preview. And an Olight review, I think might be the last one on the channel, but it's actually a really good light. I've been very impressed with it. And then the Rock Island Armory TAC Ultra FSHC. It's a 2011. Guys, the thing is a tank, and I'm excited to share my thoughts on that because it is a beast of a gun. So yeah, some fun things on the way.
Cool. Well, I've got the Lancer Heavy Metal 308 review coming up. Matter of fact, I haven't filmed it yet. I've been playing around with the gun a lot, or the rifle, really enjoying that. I've got the American Resistance gear. PCC is officially finished now. So all I have to do is sight in the red dot, and it's going to be ready to roll. And got some trigger upgrades and stuff I'll be talking about on that. And but that's kind of what I have coming up. So, but we appreciate y'all as always. Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for the great comments and content that you allow us to bring you. And please go over and tune into the Gun Buddies chat. It's Gun Bunnies. You can just shorten it up. It's easy to remember. But no, we appreciate those guys. But they're going to be on at 8 o'clock, so we're going to jump off so they can get ready to go. And we appreciate y'all so much. And y'all have a great night. And remember, carry on.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank y'all.